Hey, this is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you the Daily Word for Men. And this month we are reading the November scripture. That's why I take pleasure in my weakness and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, I am strong. 2 Corinthians 12:10, the New Living Translation. And Paul was persecuted at first by the apostles because he was instrumental in the death of Stephen, the first Christian martyr, and then by his brother Pharisees because they didn't like the message that he preached. And so this is the word for today is relief, and the scriptural quote is, Lord, hear my prayer, listen to my cry for mercy, and your faithfulness and righteousness come to my relief. Psalm 143:1, the New International Version. Many things exasperate us, none more so than taking care of a screaming infant late at night when the last 3 nights have also been sleepless. It seems babies have a radar for parents that are about to doze off peacefully. But what respite when your partner comes in and takes the child from your arms and orders you to bed. Ah, sweet relief. We face situations at work, especially if we are in blue-collar labor force, where we need relief. Tired workers are dangerous to themselves, others, and production. This is why shift work was developed. It was recognized as unsafe and unprofitable to have to replace workers. If you provide a reprieve, workers come back refreshed and more effective. In the same way, the Lord provides a place of relief for us to be refreshed and renewed. Well, throughout my whole working career, I did shift work, so I can speak to this. I had two very different careers. One in IT for major banks. I wasn't involved in banking, I was just involved in the backdoor stuff. That's what they called it, backroom stuff. Running the computer, making sure it runs, finding out why it isn't, getting programs fixed that seemed to have been broken. And then I became a registered nurse and worked in neurology and neurosurgery. And that was also on third shift. So practically my whole working career, I worked 11 to 7. Now, this book says that shift work was developed so they didn't have to replace workers. In industries that are in great demand or cannot have other shifts, cannot have any downtime for 24 hours. Say they're selling hot items, a hot Christmas toy. They work around the clock to get out enough as they can. And banking, as much as people might think, it's a daily thing, during the day, at least when I was in it, they would accumulate transactions, all the transactions that people did, and then run them at night and have them settled by the morning and have all the online stuff come up. And that was my job, to ensure that happened. And obviously in healthcare, in any kind of facility, a nursing home, a hospital, psych hospitals, you have to have round-the-clock coverage. People can't be left alone to die. So it's not the only reason that it was unprofitable to save workers. You just needed them. But I can tell you, during during well, as a nurse, I had to work every other weekend. So your summer's cut down to 5 weekends off. And a lot of times it would be a rotten weekend, maybe raining, and no one would call in sick. But then if it was going to be a good Saturday or Sunday morning and I was on the third shift, people would call in. They couldn't find anyone to come in for a weekend, so they froze me in for another 8 hours of work, which was very dangerous in the sense, at least in Rhode Island, you can't do that. You can only mandate 4 hours unless the governor declares a state of emergency for the state. Because it was tough to have stayed up all night and then work the whole day and get off at 3 o'clock and then have to come back at 11 again. And I did that plenty of times if it was a good day. People just want to go with their family down the beach, so they call in sick, and I got stuck working. So it was tough to get refreshed and renewed. In fact, for one blizzard, and the governor did declare an emergency, they froze me in, but they gave me a bed, an empty bed, and I had to work 4 days in a row. Not staying awake all the time. I was given 8 hours to go and sleep, and so it's tough. It's tough out there in the workaday world when you're working in a job that's not 9 to 5. And the question to us is, how can you provide relief to someone in your life who needs it? Well, I know plenty of times I babysit. I'm the oldest. I babysat my brothers and sisters when my parents had a date night out, went for a movie, and a dinner without 10 kids crying and screaming. And, you can do that for someone. Or if, say, someone's got a spouse or a relative they're taking care of, and they have to do it round the clock, maybe you can volunteer to give them some respite care. Say, I'll come and sit with them for 4 hours. Why don't you go out? You can do your shopping, go get yourself a meal, and just acts of charity. If someone is under a great deal of stress, financial, maybe you're able to help in that way. You can always just pray for them if you have nothing to give them. Prayer works. Yes, it's because it's tough going through things alone, all by yourself, when someone else is depending on you. Like my parents, they raised 10 kids. And then my dad had to take care of my grandmother, his mother. She fell, broke her hip, and went into a very quickly advancing dementia. And within a year she died. But it was tough. It was tough on everybody in the family. And so we all pitched in and tried. Eventually one of my cousins went to live with her and help her out. And so there's many things you can do, and it takes, anything in your imagination. Get them a couple of tickets, or the person a ticket to go to a matinee and sit with the person they're taking care of. Bring them some food so they don't have to cook. Many, many acts of charity. So that's it for me. I wish you a safe and holy Tuesday, and God bless.